The first thing Aiden felt was the cold. The second was Rowan's hand around his throat. That was when he realized he had woken up in the wrong life, the wrong body, and definitely the wrong billionaire's mansion. Some people reincarnate into princes. He reincarnated into a kidnapping scheme. He would complain, but right now Rowan Kane looked like he was 3 seconds away from breaking his neck. "Who the hell are you?" Rowan growled, voice low enough to make the air vibrate. Aiden didn't have time to panic, but he did anyway, which honestly was reasonable. The last thing he remembered was the headlights of a truck in his previous life coming at him way too fast. He was just a college student in Seattle who hadn't even finished paying off his student loans. Next thing he knew, he was lying on marble floors in a sprawling estate in California, wearing expensive clothes, surrounded by strangers calling him Elias Ward, the missing heir of the Ward dynasty. Except he wasn't Elias. But apparently he looked exactly like him. Perfect duplicate. A convenient duplicate. A very screwed duplicate. Rowan Kane, the sworn protector and foster brother of the real Elias Ward, clearly didn't buy the replacement act. Rowan's face hovered above him, all harsh angles and tightly restrained fury. He was beautiful in that dangerous way that felt unfair to the rest of humanity. The kind of beauty that warned you not to stare too long unless you wanted to start worshipping. Aiden would love to admire him under literally any other circumstance. "I said, who the hell are you?" Rowan repeated, tightening his grip. His eyes a warm amber that contrasted sharply with the coldness in them. Aiden coughed. "Two don't know how to explain this. Try." "Okay, sure." He would just explain reincarnation to the scariest man he had ever seen. No pressure. "I'm not Elias," Aiden gasped. Silence. Deadly silence. Rowan's jaw clenched. "Do you think this is funny?" No, Aiden wheezed. "I know how this looks, but I'm serious. I woke up here yesterday. I don't know why I look like him. I don't know why people think I'm him. I'm just trying to stay alive." It was the truth, and it sounded exactly like a lie. Rowan's grip loosened only enough to let Aiden breathe, not enough to let him escape. "You expect me to believe the missing heir miraculously returns after 2 years," Rowan said slowly, "and then claims he's someone else?" Aiden swallowed hard. "Yes." Rowan's expression said, "Wrong answer." But instead of snapping his neck, Rowan let go abruptly and stood up. Aiden gasped, clutching his throat as he sat up. Rowan paced once, twice, then stopped with his back facing him. His voice, when he spoke again, had lost none of its suspicion but carried something else beneath it. Fear. "You remembered the staff names," Rowan said. "You remembered the security codes. You remembered the routes only Elias knew." Aiden froze. He had remembered them. He remembered everything. Not because he was Elias, but because the memories had come with the body. Aiden wasn't just reincarnated. He had inherited Elias's dying memories. And someone had murdered Elias Ward. That part hit him in flashes, disjointed and blurry: the shouts, the running, the snap of a gunshot, the burning cold of fear. He didn't know the full picture yet. But he knew Elias hadn't died peacefully. He had been killed. Aiden opened his mouth, closed it, then whispered, I don't know how I know. Okay? But I'm telling you the truth." Rowan turned around slowly. Those amber eyes softened just a fraction. Barely noticeable. But Aiden felt it like sunlight hitting frost. "If you're lying," Rowan said quietly, "I'll know." Aiden nodded. "And if you're telling the truth?" Rowan's jaw tightened again. "Then someone is trying to kill you too." Aiden's blood ran cold. Because deep down he already knew that. The Ward mansion was too big, too silent, too dangerous. Aiden walked beside Rowan down the long hallway, trying to process the absurdity of being reincarnated into billionaire drama he had never asked for. The servants bowed to him as they passed, their faces filled with relief, hope, joy. Felt wrong. He wasn't their heir. He wasn't their Elias. Rowan stopped suddenly. Aiden almost ran into him. "You flinch," Rowan said. "What?" "You keep flinching when people greet you." Elias never did. Aiden wasn't sure if he was being observed by a bodyguard or hunted by a wolf. "Sorry," Aiden muttered. "I'm not used to it." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "Not used to what?" "People acting like I matter." Something flickered in Rowan's gaze. Something sharp. Something painful. Aiden looked away, embarrassed. They reached a door. Rowan opened it and motioned Aiden inside. It was a bedroom. A massive one. Aiden's heart stopped. "Is this your room?" Rowan said. "At least as far as anyone else knows." Aiden hesitated. Rowan leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching him with practiced unreadability. He was too suspicious, too attentive, too intense. Aiden didn't know whether to fear him or trust him. Then Rowan spoke, unexpectedly soft. "Stay inside today. Don't wander. If my uncle realizes you're not Elias." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Aiden understood. Someone in this house wanted him dead. "Rowan," Aiden whispered before he could stop himself. "Why are you helping me?" Rowan looked at him for a long moment. He looked like a man standing on the edge of a cliff, debating whether to jump. "Because," Rowan said finally, voice rough, "Elias saved my life once. If you're carrying even a piece of him inside you." He paused, amber eyes steady on Aiden. "Then I'll protect you until I know the truth." Aiden's throat tightened. For some reason, that promise hurt. That night, Aiden couldn't sleep. The house creaked like it was breathing. Shadows stretched across the ceiling. Every sound felt heavy with warning. He got up, pacing the room, trying to steady his racing mind. He had inherited Elias's memories, but only fragments, flashes, emotions, just enough to feel Elias's loneliness, his exhaustion, his untold secrets. And one memory kept returning. A warm laugh, arms around him, sunlight on skin. Rowan's voice murmuring, "You're safe with me." But Aiden couldn't tell if that memory was real, or a dying dream Elias had left behind. Footsteps approached. Aiden froze. The door opened. Rowan stepped inside without knocking, eyes sweeping the room as if expecting danger. "What are you doing awake?" Rowan asked. "I could ask you the same." Rowan sighed, running a hand through his blonde hair. "You were moving around too much. The cameras picked it up." "You're watching me?" "I'm protecting you," Rowan corrected. Aiden's pulse skipped for reasons he refused to acknowledge. Rowan walked toward him, stopping a foot away. Aiden felt small beside him, heat radiating from Rowan's body like a shield. "You're scared," Rowan said quietly. Aiden didn't deny it. Rowan hesitated, then did something unexpected. He reached out and touched Aiden's wrist, gentle, reassuring, grounding. Aiden's breath caught. "For tonight," Rowan murmured. "You're safe. I promise." Aiden wanted to believe him. Maybe he already did. The next morning, everything went to hell. A gunshot shattered the quiet. Aiden didn't think. He ran. Rowan tackled him to the ground an instant before the second shot cracked through the hallway. "Down!" Rowan shouted, covering him with his body. Aiden's heart slammed against his ribs. Rowan's weight pressed warm and heavy against him, shielding him completely. "Someone got past security," Rowan growled. "Stay with me." "As if I'm going anywhere." Rowan grabbed his hand tight, warm, desperate, and pulled him through the smoke-filled hallway. Aiden stumbled, lungs burning, fear clawing at his throat. But Rowan didn't let go. Not even once. They burst into a locked room. Rowan slammed the door, braced a chair under the handle, then turned to Aiden. "Are you hurt?" he demanded. "No." "Are you?" "Doesn't matter." "It matters to me." Aiden snapped before he could stop himself. Rowan froze. It was only a second, but Aiden felt the shift. Rowan's eyes softened slowly, reluctantly, intensely. "You shouldn't say things like that," Rowan murmured. "Why not?" "Because I might start believing you." Aiden's chest tightened painfully. He didn't know if this flicker between them belonged to him or to Elias, but he felt it all the same. Rowan took a step closer. Aiden didn't move away. Their breaths mingled, The world outside blurred. Aiden, Rowan whispered, voice low. Whoever you are, I will keep you alive. Even if I have to tear this house apart. The distance between them thinned until it felt like a single breath could break it. Aiden swallowed. Rowan, why do you care so much? Rowan's jaw worked. He looked like a man fighting himself. Then he whispered the truth he wasn't ready to face. Because losing Elias once was enough. Aiden felt that like a wound reopening. Because he wasn't Elias. But Rowan was grieving him. And Aiden was living in a dead man's shadow. A knock on the locked door nearly made Aiden jump out of his skin. Rowan raised a finger to his lips, signaling silence. Another knock. Then a familiar voice. Rowan, it's Marcus. Open up. Rowan tensed. My cousin, he murmured. Should be safe. Aiden wasn't convinced. Rowan unlocked the door just enough to peek out. Aiden watched the exchange anxiously. Marcus spoke too fast, too nervous, explaining security was clearing the east wing, that someone was trying to breach the estate, that Rowan's uncle was furious. Rowan nodded and opened the door wider, and that was when Marcus's eyes landed on Aiden. Something in his expression shifted. Just for a second. Just long enough for Aiden to see it. Recognition, hatred, and fear. Aiden's stomach dropped. Marcus knew he wasn't Elias. Rowan didn't notice, but Aiden did. He met Marcus's gaze and Marcus's lips curled into the tiniest, cruelest smile. A silent message. I know your secret, and I will use it. Aiden's pulse thudded painfully. Rowan closed the door again after receiving instructions. He turned to Aiden. We need to move. My uncle wants to see you. Aiden nodded, trying to keep his hands from shaking. Rowan, Aiden whispered. I don't think your cousin likes me. Rowan snorted. Marcus doesn't like anyone. Aiden didn't argue, because he knew Marcus didn't just dislike him. Marcus wanted him gone, and maybe dead. Rowan reached out, took Aiden's hand again, squeezing gently. I'm right here, Rowan said. You don't face him alone. Aiden nodded, but as they walked toward Rowan's uncle's office, Aiden couldn't shake the feeling that the real danger wasn't behind them. It was waiting ahead. Smiling. The Ward estate looked different when danger pressed against its walls. The sunlight felt colder, the halls longer, the shadows sharper. Aiden followed Rowan through the mansion, every muscle tensed with the memory of gunfire ringing in his ears. Rowan walked half a step ahead, broad shoulders rigid, jaw clenched like he was holding back a storm. Aiden didn't know if Rowan was angry at the attacker, or at himself for not preventing it. Either way, the air between them buzzed with tension. They approached the private wing, where Rowan's Uncle Jonathan Ward conducted most of his business. Compared to the rest of the estate, this corridor looked different. Darker wood, fewer windows, and an oppressive quiet that pressed against Aiden's ribs like a hand. Rowan stopped in front of a tall door. Stay close, Rowan murmured. Don't say anything unless you have to. Aiden nodded. Rowan, your uncle. What is he like? Rowan hesitated for just a second long enough. Powerful, he said. Sharp. And unforgiving. That was not reassuring. Rowan knocked once, then opened the door. Jonathan Ward stood by the window, framed by the California coastline stretching endlessly behind him. He was tall, iron-gray hair slicked back, features chiseled with the kind of cold elegance money tended to carve into a person. His presence filled the room long before he spoke. Aiden, Jonathan said without looking at him. Or should I say, Elias. Aiden's heart skidded. He bowed his head slightly as Elias would have. The inherited memories guided his movements like invisible strings. Jonathan finally turned around, studying him with unsettling precision. Rowan stepped slightly in front of Aiden. Uncle, someone breached the security perimeter. We need to increase. Jonathan raised a hand. Rowan fell silent instantly. I heard, Jonathan said. But security failures can be handled later. I'm more interested in why my returned heir looks like he just escaped death. Rowan stiffened. Because he did. Jonathan's gaze sharpened. Then explain. Rowan inhaled slowly, grounding himself. Someone shot at him. Twice. This wasn't a warning. It was an execution attempt. Jonathan's expression didn't change, but the room felt colder. And you protected him. It wasn't a question. Rowan didn't answer. Aiden watched the exchange, the tension, the unspoken calculations, and felt like he was intruding on something older and deeper than he could understand. Jonathan stepped closer to Aiden, stopping only a few feet away. His eyes held no warmth, only expectation. "Elias," Jonathan said softly, "you disappear without a trace for 2 years. Then you return with amnesia, fear, and no explanation. And now someone wants you dead again." Aiden forced himself to steady his breathing. "I'm trying to remember everything." Jonathan's gaze flicked down his face, lingering too long, searching for something Aiden didn't have. At last, Jonathan stepped back. "Then start remembering faster," he said coldly. "Our enemies won't wait for you to catch up." Rowan bristled. "That's not fair." Jonathan's voice dropped to ice. "Rowan." Rowan fell silent. Aiden felt a sudden, painful pressure in his chest. Rowan wasn't just Jonathan's nephew. He was another weapon in the Ward arsenal, one Jonathan wasn't afraid to use or restrain. Jonathan returned to the window. "There will be a board meeting tonight," he said. "All major shareholders. Elias must attend." Aiden's blood ran cold. "Tonight?" "Yes." Jonathan's tone was final. "If your enemies think you're weak, they will strike harder. Show them you are not." Aiden didn't trust his voice, so he stayed silent. Jonathan dismissed them with a flick of his hand. Rowan guided Aiden out, but the moment the door clicked shut behind them, Rowan exhaled sharply. "That could have gone worse," Rowan muttered. Aiden blinked. "Worse? How?" "He didn't threaten to disown you." Aiden stared. "People threaten you with disownment regularly?" Rowan didn't answer, which Aiden guessed meant yes. They walked back toward Aiden's room, tension still clinging to Rowan like a second skin. Aiden reached out, lightly touching Rowan's sleeve. "Rowan," Aiden said quietly. "I'm sorry." Rowan stopped. "For what?" "For causing trouble. For putting you in danger. For—" Aiden swallowed. "For not being him." Rowan froze. The hallway felt too small, too silent, too intimate. "Aiden," Rowan said slowly, "don't say that." "But it's true." Rowan turned to face him, eyes intense. "Listen to me. Elias was a part of my life, yes. But you—" He stopped himself suddenly, jaw tightening. Aiden held his breath. "But me? What?" Rowan looked away, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "I don't know yet." Aiden's heart squeezed painfully. They stood in silence until Rowan finally said, "You should rest before tonight. I'll send clothes to your room." Aiden nodded. Rowan didn't leave immediately. He lingered, as if wanting to say something more. Then he stepped back abruptly. "Lock the door," Rowan said. "I'll be right outside." Aiden watched him walk away, and realized something frightening. He didn't want Rowan to go. Night settled over the estate like a shroud by the time the board meeting began. The conference room was all glass walls, polished floors, and a long mahogany table filled with men and women in designer suits. They watched Aiden enter with a mixture of shock, skepticism, and predatory curiosity. Whispers began instantly. "He's back. Impossible. He looks different." "Is it really him?" Aiden's throat tightened. Rowan walked beside him, placing a steadying hand on his lower back, discreet but grounding. That small touch burned through Aiden's clothes, warming him in ways he didn't understand. Jonathan Ward sat at the head of the table. "Let's begin," Jonathan said. "Our heir has returned." Aiden felt every gaze pierce him. He forced himself to speak. "Thank you all for gathering. I know my return raises questions." A shareholder with silver hair leaned forward. "Questions? Elias, you vanished. No messages. No explanations. And now you come back claiming memory loss? How convenient." Rowan stepped forward instantly. "Watch your tone." Jonathan raised a hand. Rowan stopped but glared daggers. Aiden drew a breath. "I understand the suspicion. But I'm here now, and I intend to fulfill my responsibilities. The silver-haired man scoffed. Then explain the attempted assassination today. Aiden froze. Rowan's jaw flexed. That's under investigation. The man smirked. Interesting. Assassins appear the day the heir returns from the dead. Aiden felt heat rise to his face. Someone else, an older woman with cold eyes, spoke up. I think we should consider the possibility that this man is not Elias Ward. The room fell silent. Jonathan's eyes sharpened. Explain. She folded her hands. People change, yes, but this level of behavioral shift? Unprecedented. Elias was assertive, sharp, commanding. This boy is timid and unfocused. Aiden swallowed hard. The woman continued. The inheritance, the company shares, the future of this empire, it all depends on one person. And if that one person is an imposter, Rowan slammed his hands onto the table. Say that again. His voice was a low growl, primal and lethal. The woman didn't flinch. I said, if he is an imposter. Rowan leaned forward, amber eyes blazing. I will make sure you regret it. Aiden grabbed Rowan's sleeve. Rowan, stop. Rowan's breathing was sharp, harsh, furious. Aiden tugged gently, grounding him. Rowan's gaze flicked to him, softening with painful immediacy. Aiden turned back to the board. I can prove who I am, Aiden said. Ask me anything only Elias would know. The woman smirked smugly. Very well. What did your father say before he died? Aiden froze. A flash of memory hit him, Elias kneeling beside a hospital bed. The beeping of machines. A warm hand cupping his face. A voice whispering, protect the legacy, Elias. Protect the ones who protect you. Aiden repeated the words softly. The room fell silent. The woman blinked in shock. Another man spoke up slowly. What was the name of your childhood dog? The memory surfaced instantly. Quincy. A ripple of whispers. A third asked, what did you get Rowan for his 17th birthday? Aiden hesitated. Then he remembered Elias's soft laughter. Rowan's embarrassed grin. A bracelet made of braided leather. A bracelet, Aiden said, with his initials carved inside. Rowan stiffened, shocked. Aiden looked at him. Rowan's lips parted slightly, like a wound was reopening and healing all at once. The boardroom descended into murmurs of disbelief. Jonathan Ward leaned back in his chair, satisfied. Enough, Jonathan said. He is Elias Ward. This meeting is over. Chairs scraped. People stood. But Rowan didn't move. He just stared at Aiden like he was seeing two ghosts at once. Aiden felt exposed under that gaze, stripped bare of every mask, every lie, every fragment of borrowed memory. Rowan approached slowly, stopping only inches away. Do you remember that? Rowan asked softly. Aiden swallowed. Elias did. Rowan's eyes softened with a grief Aiden didn't know how to fix. Not you. No, Aiden whispered. Not me. Rowan lifted a trembling hand, hesitating before brushing his fingers along Aiden's cheek. Aiden's breath hitched. I don't know who you are, Rowan murmured. But losing you tonight terrified me. Aiden's pulse jumped painfully. Rowan, the doors slammed open. Marcus entered. Face pale. Breath unsteady. Eyes sharp. We have a problem, Marcus said. A big one. Rowan stepped in front of Aiden instantly. What happened? Marcus looked directly at Aiden. Then he smiled. Cold. Knowing. Someone just leaked proof to the media, Marcus said. That he's not Elias Ward. Aiden's heart stopped. Rowan's breath caught. Jonathan's voice thundered behind them. What did you say? Marcus's smile widened. They know he's an imposter. Aiden's world shattered. Rowan grabbed his arm before his knees could buckle. Aiden, Rowan whispered urgently. Look at me. Aiden did. But all he saw was the reflection of his own fear in Rowan's eyes. Rowan pulled him closer, holding him upright. I've got you. Aiden wanted to believe him, but the future crashing toward them felt too heavy, too dangerous, too impossible. Because the world now knew the truth. He wasn't Elias Ward. And now the real fight was only beginning. Silence crashed through the room like a tidal wave. Aiden's pulse roared in his ears, drowning out everything but Rowan's hand gripping his arm. Marcus stood near the doorway, arms crossed, wearing a look of triumph he didn't bother hiding. Jonathan Ward's expression hardened into something sharp and lethal. Jonathan rose slowly. "Explain," he commanded. Marcus bowed his head slightly, but the smugness lingered around the edges of his smile. A file was sent anonymously to the media. Hospital records, DNA reports, photographs from the morgue. Proof that Elias Ward died 2 years ago. Aiden felt Rowan tense beside him, every muscle coiling like a drawn bow. "That's impossible," Rowan snapped. No one outside this family had access to those Marcus cut in smoothly. "The media is already running headlines. By tomorrow morning, every news outlet in the country will question the legitimacy of the Ward heir. The board will panic, investors will waver, and the company's enemies will feast on the chaos." Aiden felt the room tilt. He wasn't just failing to replace Elias, she was unraveling everything Elias had once protected. Jonathan's voice dropped to a chilling calm. "Marcus, if what you say is true, bring me the proof." Marcus extended a tablet. Jonathan scrolled. His jaw clenched. "It's already gone viral," Marcus said. "We have less than 12 hours before the first press conference demands answers." Aiden felt the ground crumble under his feet. Rowan pulled him slightly behind him, a protective gesture so instinctive it hurt. "We can shut it down," Rowan said. "We can buy time. We can declare the evidence fake." Leaked by competitors, Jonathan slammed the tablet onto the table. "Rowan, enough. This is not something we can lie our way out of." Aiden's stomach twisted. Jonathan turned to him. "Who are you?" Jonathan asked quietly. There was no anger in his voice, only resignation. Aiden opened his mouth but nothing came out. He didn't know what to say, who to be, how to defend himself. The truth felt too heavy, too shameful. Marcus stepped forward. "Tell them, Aiden, or whatever your name is." Rowan snapped. "Shut your damn mouth." But Marcus ignored him. "Tell them that you woke up in a hospital with Elias Ward's memories. Tell them you came here pretending to be someone you're not. Tell them you fooled this entire family." Aiden's vision blurred. Rowan lunged at Marcus, but Jonathan's voice thundered. "Enough!" The command froze them. Jonathan turned his gaze back to Aiden, eyes colder and older than before. "Tell me the truth," Jonathan said. "All of it." Aiden felt his lungs squeeze tight. He closed his eyes, and for the first time he stopped trying to be Elias Ward. "My name isn't Elias," Aiden whispered. "I'm not him. I never was." Rowan turned toward him sharply. Aiden forced himself to continue. "I woke up in a hospital with memories that weren't mine, like they were poured into me. I thought I was losing my mind until I saw the news of Elias's disappearance. The way our faces looked almost identical, and I thought maybe fate was telling me to step into his place. Maybe I could finish what he couldn't." Jonathan's expression didn't change, but Rowan's did. It broke. Aiden lifted his hands helplessly. "I didn't come here for money or power. I came because the memories, Elias's memories, told me he was in danger. They told me he died trying to protect this family. And I thought I could protect you the way he wanted. Even if I wasn't him. Even if I had no right." Marcus scoffed. "Touching." Jonathan didn't look at Marcus. He looked at Rowan. "Take him to his room," Jonathan said quietly. "Guard him. Don't let him speak to anyone." Aiden stiffened. "Am I a prisoner now?" Jonathan didn't answer. Rowan grabbed Aiden's arm gently. "Come on." Aiden let himself be led out, but his heart felt like it was cracking with each step. The door closed behind them with a thud. Rowan didn't speak. Not until they reached Aiden's room. When they stepped inside, Rowan shut the door, leaned against it, and finally looked at Aiden. His voice came out low and rough. "Why didn't you tell me?" Aiden swallowed painfully. "Because you wanted him, not me." Something flickered across Rowan's face, hurt, frustration, and something deeper. "You think I care about the title?" Rowan whispered. "You think I care about the damn airship?" Aiden looked away. You cared about Elias. Yes, Rowan said softly. But you're not Elias. And I knew that long before today. Aiden froze. You. His throat closed. You knew. Rowan pushed off the door, stepping closer. I knew you weren't him the moment you looked at me like I was a stranger. Aiden's breath hitched. But I wanted. Rowan swallowed hard. I wanted to believe you were something more than a lie. And you were. Aiden felt tears sting his eyes. Rowan lifted a hand to Aiden's face, wiping away a tear before it fell. You're not Elias, Rowan said. You're Aiden. And you're the one he stopped himself. The unspoken words hung between them. Aiden felt his heart stutter. Rowan, what do you want me to do? Rowan took a trembling breath. I want you to stay alive. Aiden's chest tightened. I don't think your uncle will allow that. Rowan cupped Aiden's cheek. He won't kill you. Oh, Aiden whispered. What do you think he'll do? Rowan lowered his forehead until it touched Aiden's. I don't know, he whispered. But whatever happens, I'm not letting you face it alone. Aiden closed his eyes. For a moment, just a moment, he let himself feel safe. Hours later, the world outside Aiden's window erupted into chaos. Reporters filled the gates. Drones hovered in the air. Protesters gathered with signs accusing the Ward family of fraud, conspiracy, and deception. Inside the mansion, security scrambled while Jonathan argued with the legal team. By noon, the Ward empire was bleeding. Rowan stayed beside Aiden the entire time, not as a guard, but as something gentler, more painful, more necessary. You need to disappear, Rowan said finally. Tonight, before they make you the scapegoat. Aiden felt his chest tighten. And what about you? Rowan brushed a thumb along Aiden's hand. I'll go with you. Aiden's heart stopped. You can't, Aiden whispered. Your family is killing itself from the inside, Rowan said flatly. I'm done watching it destroy good people. Aiden swallowed hard. Rowan, if you leave with me, you lose everything. Rowan laughed softly. Everything I want is standing right in front of me. Aiden's breath caught. But before he could speak, heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. Jonathan Ward stood in the doorway. Behind him, 2 armed guards. Rowan moved instantly, shielding Aiden with his body. Uncle Jonathan held up a hand. I'm not here to hurt him. Rowan didn't move. Jonathan sighed and stepped inside. Aiden, Jonathan said quietly. I've reviewed everything. The DNA, the medical reports, the memories you should not possess. Aiden felt his stomach twist. Jonathan's next words stunned him. I believe you. Aiden blinked. What? Jonathan studied him with a gaze far softer than before. Elias always said he wished he could choose someone with a kinder heart to take his place. Someone who cared more about people than power. Someone who could love this family without fear. Jonathan's voice cracked barely. Maybe fate heard him. Aiden felt tears burn his eyes. Rowan looked between them, speechless. Jonathan continued. I cannot present you to the world as Elias Ward anymore. But I can present you as something else. Aiden held his breath. Jonathan stepped forward. Become my heir, he said softly. Not Elias's replacement. Not a lie, not a ghost, but my chosen successor. Aiden froze. Rowan exhaled like he'd been punched. Jonathan went on. You saved my nephew's life twice. You tried to protect this family, even though you owe us nothing. And you carry something of my son in you, his memories, his heart. Aiden whispered, I don't deserve any of this. Jonathan shook his head. That humility is exactly why you do. Aiden's throat tightened. What about the world? The media? Jonathan straightened. We tell them the truth. Aiden blanched. The truth? That I reincarnated? Jonathan lifted a brow. Do you have a better explanation? Aiden didn't. Jonathan clasped his shoulder. The world doesn't need the full story. Only enough to understand that Elias is gone. And that I choose you to lead the Ward Empire in his honor. Aiden's chest ached. Jonathan glanced at Rowan. And if my nephew plans to be at your side, I won't stand in his way. Rowan's breath caught. Aiden turned to him. Rowan whispered, "You're not losing me." Aiden stepped closer, heart pounding. "And you're not losing me," Aiden said. "Not anymore." Rowan's hand found his. Jonathan cleared his throat. "There will be chaos, but you won't face it alone." Aiden lifted their joined hands. "I know," he said softly. "I have him." Rowan pulled Aiden into his arms. And for the first time since Aiden opened his eyes in that hospital bed, he felt like he finally belonged to something real. Someone real. Someone who chose him, not the ghost he carried. 3 months later, the world had adjusted. Aiden Reed wore Jonathan's chosen heir stood beside Rowan on the balcony overlooking Los Angeles. The city glittered like a field of stars. Rowan wrapped his arms around Aiden from behind, resting his chin on Aiden's shoulder. "You did it," Rowan murmured. "You're really the heir now." Aiden leaned into him. "We did it." Rowan kissed the corner of his jaw. "Elias would be proud." Aiden smiled softly. "Maybe, but he'd probably tell us to stop being dramatic." Rowan laughed. Aiden turned in his arms, placing a hand over Rowan's heart. "You saved me," Aiden whispered. Rowan shook his head. "No, you saved me. You brought me back to life." Aiden kissed him. Slow, gentle, certain. When they pulled back, Rowan rested his forehead against Aiden's. "I love you," Rowan whispered. Aiden's eyes stung. "I love you too." Below them, the city buzzed with light and possibility. Above them, the future waited. And in Rowan's arms, Aiden knew one thing with absolute certainty. He had been reborn into the wrong life. But he ended up exactly where he belonged. With the man who chose him. With the man he chose back. Together. Forever. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.